Good evening. The time is now 7:01. I would like to
Good
get
evening.
this evening's meeting started. Roll call, please.
Here. Here. Here.
Here. Here. Here. Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Brown, would you please read the invocation?
Thank you, Council President. Heads bowed, eyes closed. Prayer of thanksgiving. Today we take the time to pause and to acknowledge this special season of harvest and its traditions of sharing with those less fortunate. We take time to notice the labor of others from the farm to table that culminates in this feast. Today we pause to recognize how fortunate we are and to be grateful for the bounty we share with friends, family, and loved ones. Be they with us far away. We take pause to celebrate that we each can and do and make meaning for our own lives by the deeds we do to make the world a better and more human home for all. Every day offers us the opportunity to make a difference not just in our own lives, but in the lives of others. We offer our hands, our minds, our hearts to help all of those who seek to make the world a better place. Today, we take the time to rejoice not just with food we share, but also in give and take of love, compassion that we experience each day. Thank you, Lord, for the time that you've given us to share with each other, to do our best to work together to make this a better world. Amen.
Ms. Capone, would you please read the open public meeting statement?
Provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act as required by law.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to have our mayor who will address council chambers.
Thank you, Council President. It is a pleasure to be here with you all tonight to share the progress Rawway has made since our last meeting. Tonight and together, we are building a sustainable Rawway that is inclusive and vibrant for all of our residents. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Bernie Robinson, Shana Rasick, and Naja Allen for the re-election to the Rawway Board of Education. I look forward to continuing our collaboration with the school district as we work together to advance our district and our city. Next, I want to extend my congratulations to the Rawway City Council members on their re-election. Carla Timmons, Vanny Parson, Dave Brown, Danny Newberry, and Joe Jablisco. Additionally, I would like to congratulate Al Montes de Oca on his election as our second ward councilman. Your commitment to serving our community and your dedication to making positive change have been recognized by the voters, and it is a testament to your hard work and your vision for our city. May you continue to inspire those around you and lead with integrity, innovation, and a focus on the needs of our residents. I look forward to continuing our partnership and seeing the great things that we can accomplish together. Moving on, Parks and Recreation, we've received a $66,000 county grant aimed at enhancing our parks and adding more trees throughout the city. This funding is part of the Kids Recreation and Greening Union County programs. It will bring vital green space to life and ensure that Rawway remains a vibrant, healthy community for all to enjoy. I want to thank the Union County Board of Commissioners and their chair, Kimberly Pramati Muded, for their support. And I want to also thank the entire board for their commitment to the city of Rawway. I'm proud to announce that there's a new mini forest established near Grover Cleveland School. This comes thanks to an $80,000 grant and the efforts of our partnership with Groundwork Elizabeth. This forest will grow rapidly, improving air quality, creating habitat for local wildlife, and in just a few years, this small forest will have the same impact as a 50-year-old forest right here in our own backyard. It was also great to see the students of Grover Cleveland participate in this initiative and help plant trees and other plants. It was truly a community effort, and thank you to all involved. On October 25th, the city unveiled a beautiful new mural along the NJ Transit southbound line, celebrating innovators connected to Rahway's rich history, like Nikola Tesla, Carl Sagan, and Jeanette E. Brown. This project was made possible through the support of NJ Transit, Merck Research Labs, and the NJ Economic Development Authority. This mural adds a vibrant new energy to our public space while honoring the trailblazers who paved the way. Thank you to all involved. I'm thrilled to welcome two wonderful new businesses to our community, Clear Minds Mental Health and Wellness and Mana Restaurant. Clear Mind offers a critical mental health services which focus on accessibility and providing support to underserved and underinsured individuals who need it the most. This new business is located at 1600 St. George Avenue, room 302. And I would also like to let everyone know that I had the opportunity to eat at Mana Restaurant, and the Colombian food there is absolutely delicious. This will enrich our local dining scene, and I want to welcome both of these new businesses to Rahway. The restaurant can be found on 1311 Madison Hill Road. I had the opportunity to attend the Rahway High School Jobs for American Graduates program. Earlier this month, I joined the Rahway High School admin and students, and it was a great program. This transformative initiative empowers students to overcome obstacles, build confidence, and unlock their full potential. I was inspired watching the students participate in this meaningful ceremony, making their commitment to this journey. I reminded them that they're not alone, that they have mentors, teachers, and a whole community cheering them on. I told them to love the process and overcome your fears. So thank you to the Rahway School District for inviting me to that wonderful program. I truly enjoyed it. Today, we are joined by Rutgers Future Scholars who are here today. It is my pleasure to highlight the Rutgers Future Scholar Program, which supports the youth in Rahway with college access, credits, and workshops. Tonight, we are honored to welcome some of our future scholars who are attending their very first council meeting. This marks an important step in their journey to engage with the civic process and shape their community. I had the privilege of interacting with these young individuals where we explored their questions and discussed how municipal government works. It was a great experience, and I look forward to honoring them again today. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to wish my dog Kobe a very happy 4th birthday. I guess in dog years this makes him 28. My wife wanted to make sure that I included that in my notes. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Make sure during this holiday season that you spend time with your family and appreciate, your loved ones and everyone that is surrounding you. And thank you all for being here at this council meeting. This is where we continue to strive for progress and further Rahway as a whole, with the support and collaboration of this council and our dedicated citizens. Thank you, Council President, for the time. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we're going to move on to our presentations and proclamations. Looks like we have about 6 of them this evening, and council, you can just read accordingly, starting with Councilman Brooks for the Rutgers Student Scholarship Program.
Would everyone from the Rutgers Future Scholarship Program please come to the dais?
Seton Hall Pirate. This is a little bit of a betrayal, but you guys are well deserving. So, to the Rutgers Scholars Program. Whereas the City of Rahway is proud to foster opportunities for young people that contribute to the academic success, personal growth, and the community empowerment. And whereas Rutgers Future Scholar Program stands as a beacon of hope and opportunity, offering academic promising students from Rahway and other communities to have the chance to realize their potential through access to higher education. And whereas each year, middle school and high school students from New Brunswick, Piscataway, Newark, Camden, and Rahway are selected to join this prestigious program, gaining access to a unique pre-college experience, including university programming, mentoring, career development, cultural events, and academic support, preparing them for success in high school, college, and beyond. And whereas, in celebration of this remarkable program, the City of Rahway recently hosted Government Day for the Rutgers Future Scholars, allowing these exceptional students to witness firsthand the inner workings of local government, interact with city leaders, and gain insight into civic engagement and public service. And whereas the City of Rahway is committed to supporting educational initiatives like Rutgers Future Scholars Programs, which uplift our youth and contribute to their brighter future for our entire community by preparing these young individuals to be leaders, innovators, and change makers. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Mayor Raymond A. Giacobbe from the City of Rahway, along with the City Council, do hereby proclaim our support for the Rutgers Future Scholars Program and commend all the participating students for their commitment to education and community. We further extend our congratulations to these future scholars, celebrate their academic achievements, and encourage them to continue their journey toward higher education, knowing that they have the full support of the entire Rahway community. Dated November 12, 2024, Raymond A. Giacobbe, Mayor of Rahway.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Go RU.
You gotta take a picture, I suppose, right? Yep. All right. Future Dr. James right here. Almost there. Let me take these glasses off. You don't have to see me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you. Good. Yep. One more, Mayor Lincoln. There we go, good. Thank you so much, man. You guys did a great job. Thank you. Good seeing you again.
Wonderful day. Thank you so much for all this. It really was.
Councilman Brown?
Housing, Rahway Housing. Okay. This your dad? You- You're-
This is the person.
This is the, oh, Jen. Hi. How are you? Good to see you.
How soon we forget, you don't even notice me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Come forward. You know what I'd like to say before I get started? You're never too old to dig in the dirt. You know that?
Que tú nunca estás
What's his first name?
anciano para bregar en la vida.
Banner Ventura.
Buena Ventura.
Okay, now, let me say this, before I read this. I read this before, and what had happened, they had said that you was doing gardening.
Dice que tú estabas haciendo mantenimiento del jardín.
Okay, all right. Now, it takes a lot to do gardening. I appreciate a man that doesn't mind digging in the dirt. And it says, a dedicated resident of the JFK Community Senior Housing has exemplified a spirit of community and care for transforming the garden of our housing complex into a space of beauty and joy. It also says that you came to the United States in pursuit of a better opportunity and a brighter future for his family. Although he separated from his loved ones was challenging, he persevered in building a life through hard work and determination, beginning in his American journey in Queens, New York. Held a variety of jobs from car washing, plumbing, to a steady position in a coat factory, whereas ultimately settled in Rahway, New Jersey, while facing health challenges that prevented him from continuing in his trade. He found a welcoming community within Rahway Housing Authority. He has since been a resident at the JFK Housing Senior Housing for approximately 6 years. In his retirement, he generously dedicated his time and talent to beautifying the housing complex gardens. Through his remarkable green thumb and unwavering commitment, he has a vibrant garden and features an array of colorful flowers, unique textures, shapes, contrasts, providing joy and a place for all who live there. Whereas dedicated to this garden, a testament of this collaboration spirit and selfishness, offering a place where residents can come together to enjoy beauty, fostering sense of community and pride within our complex. Now, therefore, Mayor Raymond Giacobbe and the City Council do hereby recognize you for all of your deeds that you've done in our community. This effort has not enhanced the beauty of a shared space and also enriched the lives of all who encounter his work. The gratitude and deep appreciation for the passion and creativity and kindness. And it's from the Mayor, Raymond Giacobbe. Now that's all that's here. But let me say something to you. I'm a gardener, you're a gardener. But what we do here in the city of Rahway, we ask people to come in and to do things. I'm about an individual that's been on council for quite some time that says, not let's just talk about it, be about it. So what I'm going to do, Jen, is this. Listen now. Because of you at Housing, I'm going to work with you in a gardening program that we have at the JFK, not at the JFK, at the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church at 809 East Hazelwood Avenue, right? And I'm going to come down and get him to come to our gardening, and we're going to come back to your gardening, and we're going to make this next year a beautiful thing of looking and seeing what can be done here in the city of Rahway, and especially with our mayor
We'll
of
translate
helping.
all of that later.
All right?
I got it.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a picture. I do want to thank Executive Director Jen Wenson, Mayor. Jen, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. Jen, spearheaded this proclamation and honoring this gentleman. So, Jen, thank you so much. You truly serve your residents to the fullest capacity. So, thank you. Yes, please. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if she was.
Okay. Buenaventura Crisóstomo, un residente dedicado al JFK Kennedy Senior Housing. Ha ejemplificado un espíritu de comunidad y de cuidado en transformar los jardines de nuestro complejo de vivienda en un espacio de belleza, tranquilidad y alegría. nacido el 14 de julio de 1960 en Santo Domingo, República Dominicana. El señor Crisóstomo se mudó a los Estados Unidos en busca de mejores oportunidades y un futuro más brillante para su familia. Aunque la separación de sus seres queridos fue un desafío, perseveró y construyó una vida a través del trabajo duro y una determinación. Al comenzar su viaje por los Estados Unidos, en Queens, New York, el señor Crisóstomo ocupó una variedad de trabajos, desde lavados de auto, plomería, hasta un puesto estable en una fábrica de abrigos, y considerando que finalmente se estableció en Rahway, New Jersey, mientras enfrentaba problemas de salud que lo impidían continuar con el oficio, el señor Crisóstomo encontró una comunidad acogedora dentro de la autoridad y vivienda de Rahway. Desde entonces ha sido residente del JFK Kennedy en Housing durante aproximadamente 6 años. En su retiro, el señor Crisóstomo ha dedicado generosamente su tiempo y talento en el embellecimiento de los jardines del complejo habitacional. A través de su noble pulgar verde y su compromiso inquebrantable, ha creado un jardín vibrante que presenta una variedad de flores coloridas, texturas, formas, contrastes únicos, brindando alegría y un lugar de respiro para todos los que vivimos ahí. Por cuanto la dedicación del señor Cristóbal Buenaventura en este jardín es un testimonio de su espíritu colaborativo y desinteresado, ofreciendo un lugar donde los residentes pueden reunirse para disfrutar de la belleza y de la naturaleza, formando un sentido de comunidad y orgullo dentro de nuestro complejo. Ahora, por lo tanto, el alcalde Jacobo y el Consejo Municipal reconocen y honran al señor Buenaventura por sus esfuerzos, no solo porque ha realizado la belleza de nuestros espacios compartidos, sino que también ha enriquecido la vida de todos los que se encuentran en su trabajo, extendiendo nuestra más sincera gratitud y profundo aprecio por su pasión y creatividad y amabilidad.
Yeah, photo and the,
Get everybody centered.
yep.
Actually, Dave, why don't you let him hold the resolution open, please?
Yep.
For the photo. Give him it.
Yep. Perfect, and just angle the sign a little bit this way, shine on the lights there, perfect. Everybody look here, smile. Thank you, perfect.
Thank you, Mayor.
See that? We know together, right? We're gonna dig and put something in the ground, right? See it grow. Planting the seed. That's what it's about. Okay, thank you.
And from there, we're going to move on to Extra Mile Day. Councilwoman Miles.
Yes, there we go. Proclamation Extra Mile Day. Whereas the City of Rahway is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism and service. And whereas the City of Rahway is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And whereas the City of Rahway acknowledges the mission of Extra Mile America to inspire action and a positive outlook towards life, The observance is meant to motivate people to focus on living a fulfilling life, free of limits and harness our potential. Now, therefore, Raymond A. Giacobbe, Mayor of the City of Rahway, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Rahway, do hereby proclaim November 1st, 2024 to be Extra Mile Day, and urge each individual in the community to take time on this day to not only go the extra mile in his or her own life, but to also acknowledge all those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to make their organizations, families, community, country, or world a better place. Dated November 12, 2024, Raymond A. Giacobbe, Mayor.
Thank you. National Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Timmons and Miles.
Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. Whereas during National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, we honor the extraordinary courage, strength, and resilience of people facing this devastating disease. We recognize the support of families and caregivers who stand by their loved ones' side and help them age with dignity. Whereas Alzheimer's is a progressive neurodegenerative disease, which means it gets worse over time, and the person affected eventually experiences memory loss symptoms and cognitive decline significant enough to interfere with daily life. Whereas, let us recognize the millions of Americans who are living with the impact of this condition every day, and all the incredible caregivers, doctors, researchers, and advocates supporting them. Whereas the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is focused on increasing early detection and diagnostics of Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, reducing dementia risk, preventing avoidable hospitalizations, and supporting caregivers of those living with dementia. Now, therefore, I, Raymond A. Giacobbe, Mayor of the City of Rahway, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Rahway, encourage all to honor and support those living with Alzheimer's and the many people who continue extraordinarily and tirelessly efforts to combat this disorder. I want to take a moment to recognize both my grandmother as well as Councilwoman Miles' grandmother, who are currently deceased and passed away from Alzheimer's, as well as my great-grandmother. This is a cause that is also near and dear to our hearts, and we just want to send out a huge thank you. We admire those who pitch in any way to help, not only family members, but friends as well. It takes a community, and it takes a very kind and loving heart to be able to assist one in this situation. And on this day, November 12th, 2024, we recognize and we remember those who has suffered and who are suffering with the disease. Thank you.
Thank you. National Native American Heritage Month. Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, Rahway, the home of the Lenni Lenape tribe. This proclamation is for Native American Heritage Month, and it means a great deal, especially here in the city of Rahway. Whereas, in 1990, President George H.W. Bush declared November to be National American Indian Heritage Month, which subsequent declarations more appropriately entitled Native American Heritage Month, which refers to indigenous Americans, including both Native Americans and Alaska Native Americans. And whereas there are 574 federally recognized American Indian and Alaska Native tribes and villages and 4 recognized tribes and 1 reservation within the state of New Jersey. Whereas, in the month shared with Veterans Day, we honor Native Americans who have courageously served in our armed forces, acknowledging their vital role in World War I and World War II, and noting that they continue to serve at a higher rate than any other ethnic group in our country. And whereas it is important that we honor the resilience, love, and strength of these Americans who brought us to this point in our history, and to their leaders who faithfully strive to preserve their cherished traditions. And whereas in 2024, there has been increased recognition and inclusiveness of Natives people in positions of influence on the federal level. And whereas it is important for us to join the nation in celebrating the contributions that this important segment of our city has made to the development of our country, our shared need to confront prejudice within our communities and work toward a vision of understanding and inclusiveness for all. Now, dare it be resolved, I, Raymond A. Giacobbe, Mayor of the City of Rahway, on behalf of the Rahway City Council and the citizens of Rahway, hereby declares November 2024 as Native American Heritage Month, dated November 12, 2024.
Thank you. We're going to move on to National Veterans and Military Family Month. Councilwoman Newberry.
Thank you so much. It truly is an honor to read this proclamation this evening. I am touched by veterans every day. I was adopted by veterans. My adopted mother, my adopted father, my foster sister, and my brother all served in the military, and I understand the sacrifices they make, and I appreciate, especially as yesterday was just Veterans Day. I want to take a moment before I read this proclamation to acknowledge the veterans that are with us this evening. Thank you so much for your service. National Veterans and Military Families Month. Whereas this month, our nation honors the strength and sacrifices of the families, caregivers, and survivors of our veterans and our current service members. They may not wear uniforms, but their service is essential to our national security and the character of our nation. We owe them a debt of gratitude that we can never fully repay. And whereas constant tours, deployments, and rotations are difficult for our military families, we marvel at the devotion of military families and their resilience to uproot their lives every few years and move to new communities. We honor the courage and the resolve of veteran families caring for their loved ones when their service in uniform concludes. We grieve alongside families of the fallen who have lost a piece of their soul. That is why we must take so seriously the sacred obligation to prepare and equip our service members when we send them into harm's way, and to care for them and their families when they return home. And whereas to be a veteran or a service member is to have endured and survived challenges most Americans will never know. To be the family of one of those proud patriots is to sacrifice more for our country than most Americans will ever give. During National Veterans and Military Families Month, we pay homage to the bravery and the dedication of all who wear the uniform and to the unwavering love and support of all who serve alongside them. Families who put their lives on hold so our military can hold the line represent the best of America, and we will always remember what they do for our nation. Now, therefore, on behalf of Mayor Raymond A. Giacobbe, Rahway City Council, and the citizens of Rahway, we do hereby proclaim November 2024 as National Veterans and Military Families Month. I call upon the people of the city of Rahway to encourage the community, organizations, and individuals to honor and show their gratitude to veterans and military families. Dated November 12th, 2024.
Council President, I would just like to add
Yes,
to
ma'am.
that. I want to thank American Legion Post 5 and Commander Larry Platt, the Junior ROTC, the high school band, the choir, the Rahway Police, the Rahway Fire Department, for being present at the celebration for our veterans and honoring our veterans yesterday at the ceremony at Veterans Park. I also want to take this opportunity to remember and just mention Councilman Sal Mayone, who is a staunch advocate of our veterans, a veteran himself. I had the opportunity and the honor to serve with Sal for a little bit of time while he was still on council, but even after and before his time on council, he was such an amazing individual who did so much for our community. So I did want to take this time to mention and honor former Councilman Sal Mayone, and may he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, council has to go into an executive closed session. Ms. Capone, can you please read Resolution AR 23024? May I have a mover and a second to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Jablisco.
Yes.
Miles.
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry.
Yes.
Parker. Timmons.
Yes.
Parson.
Yes. May I please ask the public to please exit council chambers? We will inform you when we are ready to. Just right in the hallway in the lobby area. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tonight, we'll be able to determine that number and defer to our public works for the maintenance costs of the two maintenance men. The next two categories, library materials and services, and some small miscellaneous items, total $28,000, which we can absorb directly through administrative expenses and services. And the two remaining categories, maintenance and utilities, will be funded through our Department of Public Works, both operating and our utility accounts. So that being said, in summary, all the employees will be paid as promised through the end of the year. All the programs and services the library provides without any cuts or suspensions can continue. All the maintenance or repairs will be conducted by our DPW employees. All building and grounds maintenance. And we will start distributing the 2025 budget requests in the next few weeks so we can get an early discussion on what the future needs will be for the library. Does anyone have any questions?
You don't? We're good?
Does the council have any questions, please?
I do not. Does council have any questions? No questions at this time.
Thank you. I've also asked the director to
Excuse me.
forward.
Please
I've asked the
continue.
director to forward all the physical invoices to my attention so we can start processing the bills as early as tomorrow. He just has emailed copies of utility bills so we could extrapolate that data to get an estimate of what we need for year end. But we will need the physical invoices to pay those bills directly because they are coming out of our accounts, just for the record.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm going to need an approval for the October 15th combined meeting. I have a motion, a second to approve
So
the
moved.
minutes.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Capone, do we have any communications from the mayor, city officers, and the bill payment list? Thank you. It's from council committee. Do we have a report from the council committee?
You received the monthly SID report and a public safety report from Councilmember
Yes, I have it, thank you.
Council President, if I may.
Councilman Brooks?
Thank you very much, Council President. I'm pleased to provide this public safety report, which highlights recent activities and ongoing initiatives by the Rahway Police Department. Now, this report, it summarizes key enforcement efforts, traffic studies, community events, and departmental planning drawn from my weekly meetings with the Director and Chief Law Enforcement Officer Gainley. So as far as traffic and parking updates, the weekly summons, this is from the week of October 28th to November the 3rd of this year. The Police Department issued 59 summons. Total written warnings were 14. Parking enforcement, there's been 232 parking summons issued within that week. As far as the summary of enforcement actions, the total enforcement actions were 91. The violation breakdown is speeding violations, there were 40. Summons issued 53. All other violations 51. Written warnings 34. And verbal warnings 8. Local analysis. On Elm Street, there was Elm Avenue, there was 52 total actions, 39 summons, 13 written warnings, 4 verbal warnings, 25 for speeding, and 27 other violations. Seminary Avenue from October the 14th to the 21st, the total actions were 8 summons, were 8 summons, one summons, written warnings 4, verbal warnings 3, speeding 2, and 6 other violations. On Hamilton Street, October 21st to the 28th, the total actions were 14. Summons were 4, written warnings 9, verbal warnings 1, speeding 9, other violations were 5. And on Central Avenue from October the 28th to November the 1st, total action 17 summons. 9 written warnings, 4 speeding and 13 other violations. Now, there were some notable incidents that took place, one being a non-fatal shooting that took place on October the 22nd of this year at the intersection of Washington Street and Bond Street. A male victim was struck in the arm and the shoulder. Responding officers secured the area, the scene. The victim was transported to a nearby hospital for treatment, and this investigation is ongoing. There was a fraud incident. October 30th, 2024, a resident of Monroe Street was the victim of a fraud incident. The victim reported being scammed of $25,000. The incident began with an email from a supposed DocuSign representative. He went by the name of Randall Sharp, alleging a transaction of $360.71 for a firmware virus protection renewal. Please be mindful, and I'm not victim blaming. The victim called the listed number and was subsequently directed to withdraw $36,071 from her account, alleging to avoid IRS complications. On October 29th, the victim withdraws $25,000, which she later handed to a courier. The funds were collected at her residence by an unknown male who walked away onto Main Street. This case was referred to the Detective Bureau, and the search warrant is pending on a vehicle of New York State resident on October 31st in connection with this incident. The investigation is still active. So there's some ongoing traffic study and maintenance updates. Elm Street traffic study, October 17th to the 24th. There were a total of 13,969 vehicles that passed. The average speed was 33 miles per hour. 35% enforceable violations observed. Continued enforcement patrols focus on the high-speed periods from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays and during peak hours. There was a traffic study on Richard Boulevard and Pierpont Street. Total vehicles were 5,315. The average speed was 21. 0 enforceable violations. On Pierpont Street, there was 9,534. The average speed was 22 miles per hour. 1% enforceable violations. And as far as the parking maintenance updates, an installation of a 2-hour parking sign at 1651, 1653 Irving Street was completed on November the 4th, 2024. And as far as special events, the police have been at several. Veterans Day ceremony, as mentioned earlier today. Trunk or Treat on the 27th, and Grover Cleveland's Trunk or Treat as well And there will be a Christmas tree lighting scheduled for November the 29th, 2024. That's Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Thank you very much, the Rahway Police Department, for your collaboration and for your information.
Thank you, Councilman Brooks. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to hearing of citizens. The citizens will have 5 minutes to speak on resolutions and first reading ordinance only. That's on the agenda only, okay? You'll speak once, and you will have 5 minutes. And please address all of your comments and questions to council. Ms. Capone, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Lauren Reedy, no address.
As you step forward, please provide your name and address.
Good evening, Council. My name is Lauren Reedy. My address is 1373 Bedford Street in Rahway. I am once again in front of you. I have been a library employee for the last 20 years, and I would like to read a statement from the staff, the union staff, to council tonight. And I would also like to myself thank Kat Irwin for her advocacy for the library staff. She was not mentioned in our statement, but I personally
Excuse me,
am thankful.
first reading only.
Well, I would like you to reconsider voting on the AR 242-24, and this has to do with our statement here.
Please
Is that
proceed.
okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
We, the union staff of the Rahway Public Library, represented by OPEIU Local 32, have once again come together to appeal to the City Council and Mayor to ensure the library's wholeness and the continued support of our dedicated staff. First, the staff welcomes new board member Christina Holness. We express our gratitude to board member Shakira Johnson for her work with Al Shipley in our history room and prioritizing the preservation of Rahway history. The staff appreciates the library board in upholding our expired contract and reimbursing the staff for purchases and continuing education benefits. The staff appreciates your advocacy to the community and the staff at the RPL. As library workers, we are deeply committed to serving our community and ensuring that everyone has access to the vital resources our library provides. But we are at a breaking point. For years, we have fought for adequate funding and staffing to meet the needs of our community, yet we continue to face the same obstacles. We are funded at the bare minimum, numerous staff vacancies remain unfilled, and we continue to struggle to maintain even our basic services. On September 3rd, the staff came to you to advocate for our library. Since then, we have attended several library board meetings in which decisions and proposals were made, yet none have provided immediate relief to the library. At the September 6th board meeting, the library voted to reopen Saturdays and Wednesdays, reinstitute those programs and digital offerings. That was contingent on the promise of funding. As of today, the library has not received extra funding. We have had to cancel all programming that involved paying a performer that wasn't included with our staff. Most dishearteningly, without the necessary funding to buy new books, our citizens have had to go to another library at another town. And I don't know, I can only speak for myself. You are welcome to come to the desk and be yelled at by patrons that want their books. It is not fun. At the October library board meeting, the director stated that there's not enough money to pay the staff by mid-December. The amount that is left and the amount that is left in payroll alone leaves us bankrupt. The shared agreement that is in your council packet today was not agreed upon by the library board at a public meeting and does not help with our current funding needs. Proposals made by the mayor, while appreciated, were made without communicating with the union. Our voices have not been considered. The proposals do nothing to address the core issues. The library is funded at the bare minimum, its workers feel undervalued, and the Rahway community is suffering as a result. We cannot continue to do more with less. The emotional and professional toll on our staff is unsustainable. We call on you, our city council, to act now. It is time to fund our library at the amount requested by the library board. Invest in the workers who make it run and commit to long-term solutions that prioritize the needs of the community. Our library is a critical resource, and it is your responsibility to ensure that it gets the support that it deserves. Stand with us, stand with the community, and make the choice to invest in the future of our library and staff. The time to act is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I do want to point out the comments that are made by the public. We will take them under advisement. City Council, we're just here, we're going to be listening to the comments tonight. Okay, this is not to the public portion where we're going to be back and forth answering the question. We're here to listen, and we will take the information into advisement. Thank you. Mr. Capone, do we have anyone else signed up?
Molly Kazuba, resident of Rawway.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Molly Kazuba. I'm a resident of Rahway.
May I have your address, please, Molly?
No, you may not. I'm a resident of Rahway. It's public record, but I will not give my address today.
Thank you.
And I'll explain why as part of my 5 minutes. I know firsthand people who have spoken up about this issue who have received nasty mail in their letterboxes at their homes on their personal property, and I have zero tolerance for that. And so, no, I'm not going to say my address. But I am going to speak to each one of you and make direct eye contact. Councilmember Ranone, did I say it right? City Attorney, excuse me, thank you for correcting me. I'm going to make eye contact with each of you as I do with my children when we have an issue. And I have to educate them on how their actions make me feel, how their actions make other people feel, how their actions impact their community. Mr. Ruggiero, I'm also going to look at you. I am frustrated. I am exhausted. I have sacrificed more than once on this subject time with my children. That is the utmost valuable and meaningful thing to me. I'm a full-time worker and a parent of 2 young small children. I am a resident of Rahway, and the library is my family's sacred space. It is so expensive to host a birthday party for a child, to have a winter activity when your parks are not available to you because it's too cold. It is very difficult for young families to find a place to do something with their young children that is low cost, no cost, educational, or just a wholesome good time. That library provides that. You have this big, beautiful rec center, and I've said it more than once. I said it on the board meeting call with you, Mr. Mayor. Big, beautiful rec center. I was so excited when we moved here and I saw that. There's no open gym. Can't take the kids there in the winter. What am I going to do with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old in the middle of winter when I can't run them? I'm tired. They got to run. Can't do it here. So that's my little background. Now I'm going to reiterate some things that you guys have all mentioned here tonight. Councilmember Brown, you so eloquently said in your invocation, better human home for all. When I heard those words, I thought of the library. When you did the presentation to that very wonderful gentleman for the garden, you said, let's not just talk about it, be about it. Mr. Mayor, you mentioned an inclusive environment in your opening remarks, accomplished together, Rahway as a whole. During your presentation to the Rutgers Future Scholars, you mentioned support youth of the community. These are your words. I hear those words, and I immediately thought of the library. I am befuddled. You're not familiar with the term? The library's got a dictionary. I'm befuddled that this is still a problem. I am befuddled that since September, I'm sure before it became my attention in September, that this is a problem. The budget needs to be fixed. And not only does it need to be fixed for 2024, that's closing, you need to, in a timely manner, Mr. Ruggiero, with legitimate deadlines and deliverables, come to a conclusion on the budget for 2025. To not only make the budget whole, and the library's sound, but to give them the confidence to do their jobs and know they're going to get paid for it. This is ridiculous that we've gotten to this point. These are words I say to my children. Any of you who have a spouse or are the spouse, I'm sure have experienced this issue. You say to your spouse, I'm going to give it to you just a homegrown example. Honey, I'd like you to fold that load of laundry. I'm fully capable of folding that load of laundry. I'm delegating it to you because I need help. And it sits there for a week, sits there for 2 weeks, sits there for a month. I'm not going to do it out of principle now because I delegated this to you to do. I can't believe I'm having to tell you again to do the laundry and fold it. Get it done. This is ridiculous. I just got my increased mortgage statement with an increase of taxes that I had to question whether or not I'm going to be able to afford to live here still.
5 minutes.
And we can't get this done. Get it done. Speak the budget clearly, effectively, and precisely, Mr. Ruggiero. Mr. Mayor,
you.
I'm begging you. I don't want to have to do this again. I'm getting angrier and angrier.
Thank you for
Thank
your time,
you.
Ms. Molly. As you step forward, would you please state the resolution and the ordinance in the first reading that you're looking to speak on? Do we have someone else signed up to speak?
Travis Armstrong, no address.
Good evening, Travis Armstrong, 1375 Maple Terrace here in Rahway.
Thank you.
I'm a retired teacher, 31 years in Newark. I made it my business to always go to the board meetings every month. And they weren't always with public comment where you just listen. Sometimes it would be interaction. So now the deafening that I'm hearing from the city council is the silence is just too much for me. That bill, and I've sat with the mayor at the board meetings of trustees of the library, was off the table. It was not supposed to be a shared service where they're supposed to absorb our maintenance people. I am also a shop steward at the library. So now when that was put off the table, the one that's being proposed tonight has never gone to the public, and the Board of Trustees, to my knowledge, the library, has not known of this. We were supposed to meet emergency meeting the Tuesday before Halloween. I was told the city wasn't ready. The meeting was canceled. It was rescheduled for the day after the election, November the 6th. 2 days before that, the city wasn't ready. That meeting was canceled. And now we're here tonight. I said in the beginning, I did not expect a Band-Aid approach to a long-term problem. And that's what we're getting now. So it's November, it's close to the end of the year. We don't have enough money for our budget. Morale here, I've been here 24 years, is at an all-time low. I noticed also that whoever's not in charge of the gavel doesn't come to the meeting. So whenever there's a Board of Trustee meeting, maybe I might see a few council people at those meetings. And tonight, I don't see any trustees in this audience. So you've been elected, they've been selected. We need to do something about this problem. And I said again, 25 is right around the corner. Are we closer to anything, knowing anything about our 25 budget? No. And I'm wondering, again, if we're going to get to the bottom of it. We had to get a GoFundMe for a staff refrigerator. That's embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing. I'm assuming that there's refrigerators here in City Hall, and I wonder if that's what happens when they go broken, that you start a GoFundMe page. But it's embarrassing. So I'm hoping that we can get to a resolution and work together.
Thank you.
Council President, if I just may, just so there's a clarification on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
timeline and what took place. The interlocal that is presented to the council today was drawn up by our law office, and I was advised by our city attorney that the governing body of the council should pass the interlocal first. Then it would go to the board. The board has the right to reject it or accept it once this governing body has passed it. The timeline of the dates of the meetings were such that we had to make sure that we were following the proper procedures in order to pass this interlocal and have the library take it under consideration. So the library board will still have the opportunity to review it and decide whether or not they're going to accept the interlocal or reject the proposal from council and the administration. So I just wanted to clarify that. This is not the final say. The library board will have an opportunity to vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Capone, do we have anyone else sign up?
Alan Levy, 254 Oak Street.
Good evening. I wish to speak on Resolution 242-24. First of all, I'd like to point out that this resolution is in brazen violation of the Faulkner Act and the requirement under the law that certain issues of this nature be determined and passed by ordinance, not by resolution. And as you all likely are fully aware, and Mr. Renone, I'm sure your father told you this, that an ordinance requires a first reading followed by a second reading, whereas a resolution only requires 1 month, or it can be done at the same time. And as the Supreme Court of New Jersey stated in Igna and Mort versus Borough of Fort Lee, an ordinance is distinctly a legislative act. A resolution, generally speaking, is simply an expression of opinion or mind concerning some particular item of business, cognizant, ordinarily ministerial in character, and relating to the administrative business of the municipality. Thus, it must be stated broadly that all acts are done by a municipal corporation in the ministerial capacity and for a temporary purpose may be put in the form of resolutions, and that matters upon which the municipal corporation desires to legislate must be put in the form of ordinances. But clearly the law doesn't matter for this council and this mayor. It's been shown throughout this entire controversy. And what we have here is a library situation where this is not a fiscal dispute. Everybody knows that. This is not a financial dispute. It's a dispute of loyalty, bullying, and retaliation. These people could figure out the financial, how to resolve this budgetary issue in a day if they wanted to, giving the library enough of a discretionary budget that would allow them to operate without coming back to the financial business administrator, as Frank said earlier, oh, we have payroll met till the end of the year. Well, what about January? Oh, well, you're gonna have to come back to us. Now, if those board members on the library who are not being cooperative and loyal to the government administration, maybe the money will come. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're just designed to string the library along. And what do we see as evidence of this? We see the mayor's own conduct back in 2020 when he threatened Melinda Rachland on tape, it's public record, saying, well, maybe we'll have to pull the health insurance from the library staff. I'm sure that's going to help with their mental stability and sustainability. No, but it sends a message, and the message is clear, that this is about loyalty. And if you don't show it to this mayor, if you don't show it to the city government, you're not getting your money to operate independently. Remember, a library is supposed to operate independently. And where did this resolution come down in the city, in the agenda? The administration. You didn't even have the audacity to at least put it in finance. Nope, it's the mayor. And it's the mayor who's going to control the library. So I would tell the staff, and I would tell Mr. Sloat, I would tell the board members, Kat and the others who are not playing ball, the mental stress and the unsustainability is the point. They want you gone. They want any dissenting person gone. And that's the point. Remember, this own mayor also made a public defamation of Mr. Sloat. And while he apologized for saying it, did he even apologize to Mr. Sloat? No, of course not. And granted, if that's all his fault, well, you know what? Maybe if those disloyal people would just leave, maybe the financial situation would magically disappear. And I think all of you council members know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't like me right now, I got that. But you also know that, you know what, if I say, you know what, just give them their money, what do you think is going to happen to you? If you're the one who takes that stance, I think we know the answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cal Shalia Lloyd, 171 Irva Street.
I am going to talk through my mask because I have like no voice because I am sick. I think it's very clear how frustrated we are. I think everyone's clear about this. When I had to leave my daughter because I couldn't finish helping her with her homework to get here, she asked me why was I coming here. I said because we still haven't figured out the library. And you know what? She looked at me like an 11-year-old looked at me like I'm an idiot. How can adults who know a problem, know a solution, sit here months later after she sat here and said what's important and everyone said we're going to figure out how to fix it? We are still 2 months later, and we still have no idea how we're going to fix it. We don't even know if the library board will approve whatever this is, right? We don't know. The simple thing would be give them the money they originally asked for and let's all move on. But that's too difficult, and I get it. As Frank has said, it's very complicated with the business, and I guess we all can't understand city business given the complications, so fine with that. So we're entrusting you, but this has been 2 months, and I've learned something. If you do something over and over again with the same result, then it's kind of crazy. And that's how we ended up here before, right? Because you all heard Frank say we needed 2%, and this budget is right, and therefore this is going to work. It didn't work, right? Because then we all came in here storming with our signs and telling you this is not right, and you all looked at us like, well, we thought this is how it was supposed to go. And now we're supposed to be back here again, 2 months later, with again, looking at something that the library board has not approved. No one has looked at to understand if it would even work, right? You actually heard from the staff that's telling you it won't work. But yet again, you all are going to sit here and do the same thing again. Right? So we'll be back here again, right? That's really what we're trying to do right now. Is that really what's happening right now? I think you all really need to think about this. And I get the whole process part, but I think at the first meeting we were told, ooh, we can have background conversations. And just because we don't say stuff in this meeting doesn't mean we don't understand. So I guess in this situation, those background conversations couldn't have happened. I guess it was only in certain times that could happen. So this selective use of your ability to negotiate, to figure this out, has been detrimental to the point that I have reported our library board to the New Jersey State Library Association as well as the state librarian because this is a violation of their fiduciary duty. They are going to run out of money. They are not going to be able to pay their staff to keep their hours that they by law need to keep, which I have already made you guys aware of that. They've not made a payment to Stella, which is the network that they're supposed to be paying that allows us to actually get material since our own library can't buy it, right? They defaulted on that payment, right, last month when the board voted to not make that payment because guess what? They either had to make that payment or make payroll. And that's a violation of the Department of Labor. So I guess we picked the lesser of those two evils. Get that, right? So, but my point being is, this is not solving this. Whatever this shared services, you don't even know if the library board will reject it. So if it rejects it, then guess what? We're back in, oh, you guys don't meet till when, and then we're back, and then guess what? The library shuts down. And you know what? That will be on all of you when that happens. And that's because you haven't done the work, the time to come up with a real viable solution and instead making Band-Aids. The fact that you have someone who actually is not on the library board, doesn't sit in the library, provides you with financial guidance, why is that? Why don't you have the actual library board here to talk about what this discussion is? How is that difficult? Or even the director. You can ask everybody to come here. Did you ask him to come here to have this discussion? Did either of you, any of you have a discussion with him privately since y'all can have these back channel conversations? Did anyone do that? You haven't. So that shows me your effort to really fix this problem isn't
minute
there.
warning.
And your commitment's not there. And to my 11-year-old child, to have to tell her that all you adults sitting in this room can't figure out to give her something that she's asked you for months ago is ridiculous. Santa Claus ain't real, but he does show up because this mama makes it happen. You all are elected to make it happen. So try to be Santa Claus for this coming Christmas and figure out how to make sure our library doesn't get shut down.
Ms. Capone, do we have anyone else signed up?
No one else signed up.
That's it?
No one else signed up.
Please step forward and state your name and address, please.
Andrew Garcia Phillips, 1470 Campbell Street. I want to talk about the library resolution as well. I'm concerned because this resolution doesn't match the scope of what the mayor offered at the last library board meeting that I attended. Maybe other people who are there can back me up, but the mayor said that the city would cover all remaining payroll. He said, you should go ahead and fill all the open positions that you have. He said, we will pay for the utilities. Go ahead and start buying all the materials that you need. This resolution doesn't do that. This resolution is a shared services agreement for 2 maintenance people. That was the proposal that was withdrawn. So I'm confused. Like, this seems like a bait and switch. You say that you went to write this interlocal agreement and that you couldn't give it to the library board the way you promised to. So that means this interlocal agreement has been written? Is that right? Because this resolution just says you're giving the administration the opportunity to enter into a shared services agreement regarding maintenance services. It doesn't actually say what that agreement is. So this resolution has no obligations or limits to it. Have you all seen this agreement? Are you voting knowing what you're agreeing to, or are you giving them a blank check and no responsibilities? The people that created this problem are the people that are telling you now they have a way to solve this. And that should concern you. It concerns me, because this is why we have multiple branches of government. You guys are a co-equal branch of government. You control the purse strings. So you don't have to just wait for the administration to tell you, okay, we've got a new plan if you guys can just approve this resolution. You could write your own resolution that would solve this problem immediately. There's nothing stopping you from doing that tonight if you wanted to do it. Whereas the city of Rahway, the citizens of Rahway are sick and tired of this mess. Whereas we are a co-equal branch of government who has power to allocate money. Whereas we've been told that this is not a money issue. Whereas there is an adequate surplus in the existing budget. Whereas the library board has its own treasurer, its own board, its own director, who have told us what they need. Whereas we met with them in June and they said, and we agreed on the scope of the things that we could pay for this year. And they came back and said that is going to cost $1.75 million this year, $1.85 next year, and then the next week we passed the budget at 1.3. Whereas we know that these numbers don't match up. These are all kinds of games that you're playing. I mean, Frank got up here and told you, this is how much they have left, this is how much they have to pay, like, they can get by if we just give them another $12,000. Does this sound like someone who wants to give the library more than adequate funding to move forward and hire people and start programs and pay for contractors? I was at that library board meeting a couple weeks ago where they were actually debating whether or not they could reimburse Al Shipley for the expenses he's taken to do historical preservation at the library. They were debating. We all know Al Shipley. Is there anyone who's like more earnest than Al Shipley about doing work that matters, right? He's spending money in an agreement with the library to do this preservation work, and now they're debating, like, I think we're going to have to short Al Shipley. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to pay our employees. So those are the debates that they're making. Those are the allowances that they're making.
1 minute warning.
In the meantime, you guys are sitting up here refusing to just do the one thing that would fix this, which is to pass an adequate budget. Whereas now you know you have this power. Therefore, be it resolved, we direct the administration to amend the 2024 budget to give the library $2 million this year and $2 million next year, so that they can start to get their house in order and people can stop coming to this meeting and yelling at us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I guess I don't have anyone else that would like to speak on the resolution. Yes, Frank, go ahead.
Just to clarify the last speaker's comment, the numbers I summarized today that the city, the numbers that I summarized today will be funded by the city through the, can you call order, please? The expenses that I represent the city will fund today through the remaining of 2024 were specifically given to me by the director, Ian Sloat. He didn't ask for anything in addition to what I presented today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this portion of the meeting. And we're going to go on into ordinance and first reading. Starting with 04024. Ms. Capone, would you please read 04024?
An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 125 Alarm Systems of the Municipal Code of the City of Rahway.
Make that Jablisco and Miles. Does council have any questions or comment? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker? Timmons?
Yes.
And Parson.
Yes. 04124.
An ordinance amending Chapter 311, Peddling, Soliciting, and Vending, Article 5, Food Vehicles, Section 311-35, Business License and Employee Permit Required, 311-36, Inspections, 31-37, Fees, 311-38, Operational Regulations and Restrictions, and 311-39, Revocating of Licenses of the Code of the City of Rahway.
Make that myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brown.
With this, for the part of now having more vendors, is it going to be more vendors will be able to come on St. George Avenue or what?
If I may, so what this ordinance does is it actually, one, creates a definition for what a special event is, and then takes the regular food truck licensing and then creates a separate, or more better defines what a special event license is for a food vendor, or a food truck vendor to come for special events. So you have your annual license, someone can come year-round, they'll be able to go to any of the designated areas. The special event license is now going to be geared toward a very specific event. Someone can come in for a one-off. It eases the ability for them to come in and reduces the restrictions because it's just a single event.
Will that make it then for special events, vendors?
Yeah.
Does that mean then the city can select the vendors that they would like to come to the special events?
No. So we're talking about food trucks. So this is anyone who owns and operates a food truck would then be able to go to the health department for a one-off special event license. So it's kind of designed in some way to streamline the process to allow for more vendors to apply more regularly and have an easier time of getting in for just the special event versus having to wait for an annual license.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco? Miles?
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker? Timmons?
Yes.
And Parson.
Yes. 04224.
An ordinance amending Chapter 401 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, 401-19, Parking of Buses and Trucks of the Code of the City of Rahway.
Like that, Brown and Miles. Does council have any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mohica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Timmons?
Yes.
Parson.
Yes. 04324.
An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 401 Vehicles and Traffic of the Municipal Code of the City of Rahway.
Make that Parker and Brooks, please. Does council have any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mohica is absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Timmons? Parson.
Yes.
Ordinances O-40-24 through O-43-24 are deemed adopted on first reading and will come up for public hearing and final adoption on December 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Moving on to resolutions, starting with AR 23124.
A resolution authorizing the release of the right-of-way bond fee to Iconic Development Partners, LLC, for permits 04-23-041, 04-23-042, 04-23-043, 04-24-044, dated 4/20/2023 for Block 151, lots 20, 21, 22, and 23, which is 1410 to 1436 Esterbrook Avenue.
Make that Newberry and Miles, please. Does council have any questions or concerns? Roll call, please.
There's no
Oh,
roll call.
sorry, you're right, no roll call. AR 23224.
A resolution authorizing a contract with All American Ford for the purchase of a new traffic maintenance vehicle under New Jersey state contract.
Make that Brown and Parker. Does council have any questions or concerns? AR 23324.
A resolution authorizing the refund of money due to the redemption of tax sale certificates for 2022 tax liens.
Timmons and Brooks, please. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 23424.
A resolution of the Municipal Council concerning the audit report for calendar year 2023.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 23524.
A resolution awarding a purchase contract for replacement of Gasboy Islander Plus with the Gasboy Islander Prime units located at City Hall and Public Works.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 23624.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a contract between the City of Rahway and H2M Associates for professional architectural and engineering services for flood mitigation measures for Hamilton Stage at 360 Hamilton Street.
Newberry and Miles. Does council have any questions or comment? AR 23724.
A resolution authorizing release of a performance bond to Meridia Rahway 1900 Urban Renewal LLC for Block 228, lots 1.01 and 1.02, and Block 227, lots 1 and 2, temporary parking lot.
Parker and Brooks. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 23824.
A resolution providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the budget of the City of Rahway pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-87, strengthening local public health grant for $74,664.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 23924.
A resolution providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the budget of the City of Rahway pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-87, sustaining local public health infrastructure grant for $168,049.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 24024.
A resolution providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the budget of the City of Rahway pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-87, New Jersey Alcohol Education Enforcement Fund for $6,374.36.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 24124 was removed from the agenda as it was duplicated with AR 24724. Ms. Capone, can you please read AR 24224?
A resolution authorizing the mayor or clerk to enter into a shared services agreement between the City of Rahway and the Public Library of Rahway.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments?
I have a comment, please, Council President.
Councilwoman Miles?
Thank you, and I'm sure that I'm actually speaking for everyone on council, although I'm speaking for myself. We can hear that this is an extremely frustrating situation for our librarians in the library. As a member of council and a resident, I can speak for my fellow council members. The library is a really important place to me, and I value our library greatly, and I recognise with council as well that the library is an extremely important place in our community, and the mayor as well. I know that he agrees as well. It is frustrating for you, and we can hear your frustration, and we are listening. And I know, having spoken with the administration as well, I know that the city, the director of the library, and the library board are working together. And it might not sound great, and it might not be an immediate result straight away, but we are working together. And I am voting on this resolution because I have faith that the city, the library board, and the library director are working together to make sure that we have a great library that we currently have. And I do not believe that there will be a less service in the library, because I believe the city and the director and the board are working together to make sure we do have our library and it has all the services that it offers. Thank you.
Please continue, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Miles, you done?
No, that was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. AR 24324.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and municipal clerk of the municipality of Rahway to execute an agreement with Lower Main Streets Associates, agreeing to amend and extend the existing tax abatement agreement.
Myself and all of council. The councils have any questions or comment? AR 24424.
A resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association, Local 33.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 24524.
A resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association, Local 233.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 24624.
A resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Fire Chief, Michael Roberts.
Myself and all of council. Does council have any questions or comments? AR 24724.
A resolution authorizing the sale of a municipally owned fire truck to nonprofit corporation, the New Jersey Fire Museum, for nominal consideration.
Make that Jablisco and Parker. AR 24824.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Shamrock Enterprises, LDT, for historic study services of the city's current historic preservation ordinance.
Brown and Timmons, please. Does council have any questions or comment? Okay. This consent agenda will be adopted on one motion, one consent agenda. Does council wish to remove any resolution from the consent agenda? May I have a motion, a second, to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker? Timmons?
Yes.
And Parson.
Yes. We're going to move on to ordinance on second reading. Where we have Mojica, I will. Where we have Mojica, I will go ahead and put my name. Okay. Starting with O3524.
An ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 362 of the Code of the City of Rahway entitled Stormwater Control for Non-Residential Major Development to reflect amendments to the New Jersey Stormwater Management Rules.
Okay. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on this ordinance?
No.
At this time, I will open the floor. If I have anyone would like to speak on O3524. Okay. Moving on. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker? Timmons?
Yes.
And Parson.
Yes. O3624.
An ordinance adopting a new official zoning map of the City of Rahway, Union County, New Jersey.
Do we have anyone signed up to speak on O3624?
No one has signed up.
Do I have anyone in the public who would like to speak on O3624? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker? Timmons?
Yes.
Parson.
Yes. O3724.
An ordinance amending Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 17, Department of Police, 5-71, Auxiliary Police of the Code of the City of Rahway.
Do we have anyone sign up to speak on O3724?
No one has signed up.
Do I have anyone in the public who would like to speak on O3724? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker? Timmons?
Yes.
And Parson.
Yes. O3824.
An ordinance amending Chapter 141, Animals, to prohibit the feeding of wildlife and amending the ordinance for fees and licensing structure.
Do we have anyone sign up for O3824?
No.
Do I have anyone from the public who would like to speak on O3824? As you step forward, please provide your name and address. You will have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Dale. I live at 1197 Pierpont Street. I actually came in support of the library, but I didn't realize I could speak on this. When I was looking over this before, it says, the keeping, maintenance, and/or feeding of wild animals is prohibited. I realize the ordinance is mostly about cats and dogs, but does this also preclude bird feeders? And just wondering if we're allowed to still continue to feed birds. Thank you. Thoughts?
Thank you. It does not stop you from feeding birds, okay?
Birds are wild animals.
Oh, now we're doing legislative interpretation? Alan Levy, 254 Oak Street, Rahway, New Jersey. As I raised my concern last month, the way the statute is written, the ordinance is written, you would essentially be making it the discretion of the city to make it a criminal act to feed stray cats. Just think about that. You're going to make it the discretion of the city to treat the feeding of stray cats a criminal act. I've often said to this council that trying to do an impression of the town council from the movie Footloose is not exactly the best way to go. But, all right, double down. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Jablisco? Miles?
Yes.
Mojica is absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Timmons?
Yes.
and Parson.
Yes. 03924.
A bond ordinance providing for various 2024 capital improvements by and in the city of Rawley in the county of Union, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1,475,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,404,760 bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
Mr. Ruggiero?
Thank you. This is a multi-purpose bond ordinance, but I would just like to draw the attention to Section 3, Number 2, where it says that we're funding $250,000 for the public library to purchase computer-related hardware and software, new copy machines, telephones, and security cameras, and any other items needed to continue the HVAC system.
Thank you. Do we have anyone sign up to speak on 03924?
Cal Shalia Lloyd, 171 Irish Street.
Hi there. I wanted to speak about this ordinance because I was in particular, as Frank so pointed out, the amount for the library. The amount obviously is $250,000. I want to ensure that the library board and them have the sole decision to determine what is purchased, and they have that discretion. And I don't know if the ordinance allows for that, but I think that should be given since they are very much aware of what they actually need and what should be purchased, and they are not forced, is the word I'm going to use, to make purchases that's deemed acceptable to the city versus will not be acceptable for what the library needs.
Thank you.
Council President, if I may?
Yes, Mayor.
Just to clarify, the director and the board have a technology committee, an ad hoc technology committee that is going to determine what the needs are for the library. It is not a city function. We are just providing them with the funds, and they are going to determine what their needs are as far as computers, copiers, and so forth. But we make the purchase directly because of purchase laws. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Denise Rolong, 1196 Klein Place. I'm wondering if this last ordinance also has to do with money for the dog park? Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Molly Kazuba, Rahway resident. Again, does that $250,000 for the library also include fixing the holes in the ceiling? My understanding, and correct me here if I'm wrong, my understanding was in that interlocal agreement was to move the maintenance men. Okay, so this $250,000 is purely for computers and materials of that nature. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Levy, 254 Oak Street.
We're still on 03924.
I wanted to thank the mayor for explaining what the nature of these ordinances are doing and point out that it's really out there for people to see that this is an effort to control the library from City Hall. The way the statute is written is to give a library independence, to not be controlled by city government. That's why there's a statute that says city employees can't be the treasurers of the board of a library. which this city was violating that statute for years until it got pointed out, until it became, the whole dispute went viral. So again, here's some money for your computers. We oh, by the way, they're still your employees. We just control the purse strings, which we passed by resolution, even though it's clearly required by ordinance. And by the way, if you continue to have the library board dissent from the people in charge of this city, you're going to keep having these financial problems. We'll string you along. We're not going to miss payroll. Don't worry about that, because that would embarrass them. We're not going to let you shut down for a day, but we're going to keep stringing you along. Now, if you get an executive director and a board and a staff who will bend the knee and show a little bit of courtesy and respect and, most importantly, loyalty, you're going to find the financial problems all go away. This is the pattern. I'm glad people at least see it. And when I use the reference to the footloose town council, remember, they would win re-election too, even though that's not how they were necessarily portrayed in the movie. But again, I want to thank you for making it clear to everyone here what's going on. This is not a fiscal or financial dispute. It's a dispute over loyalty. It's a dispute over retaliation. If you continue to show any kind of dissent, this is what's going to happen. And all you other committees, all you other boards, take note. This is what happens.
Thank you.
If I can, Council President?
Yes, Mayor.
Sir, those are your assumptions, and you are entitled to them. But the truth is, I am more than willing, and I am going to work with the current director, the current board, to make sure that the 2025 budget is adequate, and we have a full staff, a full line of programming. Those are my intentions. You can call into question my intentions all you want. That is your right, but that doesn't make it the truth.
I never said that. I called it the question for action, not your intentions.
Okay.
Never said that. Do not put words in my mouth, man. I did not attack your integrity.
Andrew Garcia Phillips, 1470 Campbell Street. Alan stole some of what I was going to say about control. Last month when this was first read, I mentioned that it's weird to fund library computer purchases with a bond ordinance. Because for one reason, every time you issue a bond, there's a bunch of extra expenses that happen. You have bond insurance and bond salesmen and lawyers who have to review all of that and all the interest that you pay on these bonds. So your contractors are thrilled every time you offer a bond. But Mr. Ruggiero explained that the one good logical reason that we issue bonds is that it spreads the cost out over time. So people who live here 10 years from now pay their share of these computers, and it's not just funded by people from 2024. Of course, the other way to do this is the way that it's always been done every other time, which is to fund the library adequately in the first place so that they do have reserves, an endowment, and that is earning interest. And so that when the day comes that they need new computers, they have a rainy day fund to buy those new computers. How were the previous computers purchased? Not with a bond purchase. They just adequately funded the library for a very long time. All of this shows, like Mr. Levy said, control. You guys want to control this. That Frank got up here and pat himself on the back for giving $250,000 to the library. He won a gold star for that. But what all of this shows, I think, is that too much deference is being paid to a single employee in the city of Rahway, Frank Ruggiero, who every time, you probably see it in these meetings, I can only imagine what happens in your private daily interactions, where he gets up here and explains something in the most confusing way possible. In my experience, when an expert fails to make something clear to people who are not experts, it's because they're gatekeeping. They're trying to control the outcome, and so they try to make you think you don't understand all the things that they understand. People who are really smart experts can make things simple to everybody around them. Say what you will about the faults of the previous administration, but they were not pushed around by their employees. Sampson and Sharon told their employees what to do.
Excuse me, sir. 03924?
Yeah, I'm talking about this ordinance.
You just brought up the previous administration.
This is my
That-
time, right? Because
Well,
they
there will
didn't
be-
pass an ordinance to pay
There's another-
for computers.
This area that you could speak on, anything you like, but
I'll speak then too, but this is my time. I'm talking about an ordinance that's being used to fund library purchases, which is different than it was done under the previous administration. Is that not fair game?
Proceed.
They were not pushed around by their employee, and what we have now, it's very clear, is that this employee is telling you, don't worry, I got this. I've got a better way that we can do all of this funding, this budget magic. I'm going to bring everything in under control, even the rogue library that's independent and outside of our control. We can bring that in. We can bring them to their knees also. And maybe this is brilliant. Maybe his budget buddies at the League of Municipalities will pat him on the back for the things that he's done. But what we end up with is an increasingly slick budget and a rapidly decaying library. And that is not a win. That's not what any of us asked for. And it seems to me, watching this, that we have leaders who do not stand up to their employees and tell them, this is our agenda. This is what our community wants. You're not a member of our community. You're an employee of our community. And you will take the direction that our community wants. The community has spoken loud and clear. They do not want these continued shenanigans with the budget. That's all that this is. There is a simple way to solve this and a difficult way to solve this. And you're allowing him to push you into the most convoluted and difficult way to solve this. Let's get back to how we used to do it. We just funded the library well, year after year after year, and it thrived. And now, for some reason, Frank is spending his time as the de facto treasurer of the library, in addition to all his other many duties that he's not doing. I'll explain that in my next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, if I
Roll
may.
call, please. Go
Council
ahead,
President,
Mayor.
if I may. I find it offensive. I almost find it deplorable for you to mention our disgraced former mayor, who was not controlled by his employees, but sexually harassed his employees, to the point where it was an attorney was. I'm speaking. So, Mr. Garcia Phillips comes up here and expresses his approval of the former administration. The former administration and mayor who allowed women under their supervision to get sexually harassed. There is a court case. There is a court case. Can I finish, please? I have the microphone. There is a court case that awarded a city employee millions of dollars. This is public record. You can look it up. So for you to get up here, sir, and commend the former administration is pretty disgusting. That's it, Council President. Thank you.
May I have your attention, please? The mayor is speaking. Let's show some respect. Everyone will, you got a chance to come up and speak, so the mayor is speaking now. You know, honestly, you're a citizen and you have the right to voice your opinion, but when you start with profanity, that's not necessary. Not necessary. Please continue, Mayor, unless Mr. Ruggiero is going to take over.
Thank you. I would just like to correct the statement from the last resident. When the library was constructed, the city passed a bond ordinance for $1 million to buy every book rack, piece of furniture, computer, telephone, everything you see there was funded by a bond ordinance. Thank you. It's completely legal.
Thank you.
Denise Rolong, 1196 Klein Place, Rahway, New Jersey. I know.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. If you've already spoken on 139, you can only speak once.
I actually want to make just two
You'll-
little comments. Oh, okay. All right.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Zablisco?
Yes.
Miles? Yes. Mojica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Timmons? Yes. Parson?
Yes. This portion of the meeting is closed. We're now going to go ahead and move on to public comment. All speakers are required to state their name and address. You will have 5 minutes to speak. You can only speak once, and you must address all comments to council, please. Okay, while we can take your comments into advisement, we're not going to be going back and forth with conversation, communication like that, okay? Please be respectful of others, okay? It's so important. Ms. Capone, did anyone sign up to speak? 1 second, ma'am.
Yes. Darlene Plunkett? No address?
Please state your name and address, Ms. Darlene.
Good evening, Darlene Plunkett, 1362 Witherspoon Street. And first of all, I would like to give it a shout out of appreciation to our police department, fire department, and first aid department, because they came to my house when I had a fire. And it's long overdue, but my dad taught me to give people their flowers while they can smell them. So if there's anyone representing them, I appreciate you. So why am I here tonight? I believe that I live in a state and in a city where people care. And I believe that because I see signs, autistic child. I see signs, Black Lives Matter. I see LGBTQ community colors on the street. I see signs all around me of that people care. And I believe that our city council members care about especially our children. Now, I realize that the topic of speed on East Hazelwood Avenue, where I live near, has been addressed here before. I've been here when it has, but I am proposing a different perspective for you tonight that I would like you to consider. I would like to paint a picture for you of what I actually see on a regular basis because I drive a lot. This is what I see. I see people crossing the street on their devices. Unfortunately, I see that with parents or older siblings, perhaps, with young children in tow with their hands are not being held. I see this all over, and it frightens me. I see buses, cars, trucks driving by at extreme high speeds in the area where I'm talking about, between St. George on East Hazelwood Avenue, between Stockton Street and Clark Street. I don't know if the suggestions that I'm about to ask you about have been presented, and if they have been, I don't know what the procedure would be, but I'm asking that you seriously consider speed bumps or speed humps or speed tables, or even the rumble stripes on East Hazelwood Avenue. Something that's going to slow the trucks, the buses, the cars down. I live there, and I appreciate the sign, the speed indicator sign, because when I pass Dairy Queen, sometimes the sign says 35 for me, and I immediately come off my gas. Tell the truth and shame the devil. I speed. But I realize that that indicator tells you, it says thank you when you're going the proper speed. I also see many people who do not slow down, and that sign is saying 35 and up. And I do realize that we have all seen the police car sitting on East Hazelwood Avenue. But let me just say, as a law-abiding citizen that I am, when I see a police car, I do slow down. However, if it's sitting there for several days and you notice that there's no one in it, it's not a deterrent anymore. Perhaps. Maybe there's some more logic to that. Many of the parents that take their children to the JFK Park in our church, I'm a member of Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, and my pastor is here today as well, and several members from Friendship are here, and many of the JFK's parents park in our lot and cross over.
1 minute warning.
Okay, so the unfortunate thing is there are no crosswalk sign. The stripes are not on the street. We do have the sign, and I appreciate that sign that shows, the blinking sign that shows children crossing, but there's no crosswalk signs. And the other suggestion that I want to ask about, those signs that say there's a state law that you have to stop when someone's in a crosswalk. Now, if we put that there, we also have to put the crosswalk stripes. Give me the paint, I'll paint it. So I'm just asking for us to really care about our children. And one last thing, someone in this room tonight was hit in that very spot that I'm talking about. And by God's grace, he is here today to be able to tell about it. What if that was a child who didn't have his strength? Also, on election day, there was an accident there. Someone hit a parked car.
5
By
minutes.
God's grace, it was not a child. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else signed up?
Lisa Giuliano.
Hi, Liza Giuliano, 881 Crescent Drive. I just want to quickly lend my support to the hardworking library staff and reiterate the importance of a fully funded library for a thriving community. And I also want to point out, maybe this is by design, but the Board of Ed meeting was today. I'm sure, Mayor, you're aware. It's really frustrating as a parent and a community member not to be able to attend both meetings. So I think that if you really want to support the district, that you guys would come together and maybe in 2025 make it possible for the community to get involved in both. Because I hate to to miss the meetings, but I also think it's equally important for me to be here to support the constituents with their issues. So if we can work on that, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Travis Armstrong.
Good evening again. Travis Armstrong, 1375 Maple Terrace. I've been a resident and a homeowner here since 1999. That means 25 years. Good evening, Rahway City Council, Mayor Jacoby. At first, I want to congratulate the re-elected and newly elected council members, especially my 5th Ward council member, Danny Newberry, who represents what I consider the heart of the city because it's the central area of Rahway. The 5th Ward is not just the downtown area. So here's my disclaimer. Everything I say here is just strictly professional and not a personal attack. So please receive it in the spirit that it is given. Mayor Jacoby, I want to personally thank you for your explanation regarding resolution AR 19624 at the September 2024 meeting. If I'm not mistaken, it was Newberry and Jalipsko who were ready to move on and cast a vote. They were so eager to pass a vote and disregard my questioning of its purpose. But you took the time to explain the use of the allocated funds and provided the rationale, and I thank you. So all again, the elected, re-elected, and newly elected council members, do not discount your constituency. I'm going to ask you be swift to listen and slow to speak. Don't just knock on doors when you have to hang door tags and put signs. I'm asking you to hold town meetings where you can share your voice and you can feel what the constituencies have to say. And not just to show up for photo ops when it's a conveniently sponsored event. The 5th Ward, we have tree issues. Mayor, you said there's more trees coming. The trees that we have need to be trimmed. And I understand there's only one crew that's responsible for every tree in the city, trimming. I've spoken with Newberry again. Maple Terrace, Central Avenue is a major thoroughfare. The flow of traffic, they speed. So we don't have a speed table. We don't have a sign telling people to slow down. I'm asking to be proactive instead of reactive. A child or someone else get hit. Street paving. I don't know where we are in the list, but riding down Maple Terrace is lots of potholes. And winter's coming, and just patching the potholes does not fix it. I've been there since 1999. Central Avenue floods. Every time we get a major storm, it has never been resurfaced. Maple Terrace has never been resurfaced. Elm Street has 3 times. I know Hazelwood and some of the other ones are county roads, but we have to come up with some kind of plan on how we're going to resurface the streets. And I look forward to hoping to hear something from somebody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaushalia Lloyd, 171 Irish Street.
I'm here to say a few things because I really feel like it's really important that you understand this. I've been at a few of these meetings, and what I have witnessed and what I've seen done feels very unfair and biased. I do feel like there are times in these meetings when you all address certain citizens in one way, but then allow other people to do completely the exact same thing, uninterrupted. I do feel like if you are going to hold standards, you should hold it uniformly for everyone. We all should be living up to those same standards. Myself included, everyone included. In particular, I'll point out, right, we were in the public session. You all have announced immediately that you will not be going back and forth, but you did allow other people within this room to go back and forth with citizens. That doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't seem that's the way that we should be operating. If you all are setting that standard, you should keep that standard, regardless of who it is. And if it is during the public session, if someone is coming to speak, they should be told if they're speaking on behalf of the council, right? And so they're offering in their official capacity, or are they speaking as a citizen, which they have every right to do. But that needs to be made clear because it doesn't seem that way sitting here. And I think that's something that you all should think about very clearly and rectify in terms of how you operate this meeting, so that it's super clear to everyone here who is speaking officially and who is clearing their public opinion. Because you all have said, we're not going back and forth. But yet and still, people are allowed to go back and forth without completely unchecked. Secondly, I implore you all, as I've said before, get involved. Show up at a library board meeting. Then you would all have known that they didn't pay their PSE&G bill. They didn't pay their Stella bill. There is no new money for programming. It shouldn't be something that I tell you, and I know I've said that, right? And I've only seen 1, maybe 2 people in attendance from a council perspective at the library board meetings to validate that you actually are listening and you want to know firsthand. Because just like me, I'm fine to hear what someone else says. But if I really want to understand and make sure that I know what's happening, nothing beats what you're hearing with your own ears. And I implore all of you all to do that, not just in this situation, but all situations, right? Because you are then only beholden to whatever the messenger gives you. And that everyone knows, everyone has bias, whether you know it's implicit or not, right? Or explicit or not. We all have biases when we tell a story, right? We've all heard the same people tell 2 stories and they all look different, even though they all sat here and witnessed the exact same information. That's something you know in your regular life. You should do that here as well, and ensure that you're hearing firsthand what the situation is. You see the numbers yourselves. As you all said, I'm sure y'all can do math. Y'all are able to do that. See the numbers yourselves. Ask for it to be written, right? You can request information. You have power as a council to do that. So request that information. Get it firsthand so you're aware of what you need to do and the information you have, and you're not reliant on others that may not necessarily give you the complete picture as it should be. And not for any mean or malicious or deficient reason. It's because we all have implicit biases when we talk about anything, and it comes across. So I think that's something that you all need to consider. And I still am very concerned about that resolution, and I really do. I believe in faith, but I think faith without works is dead, is what the other whole phrase of that Bible says. And I think you all need to think about that there needs to be some works involved. And just holding faith on people's intentions and what people will do does not necessarily mean that it gets done. And you all actually have power to be able to put those works in place. So I implore you to use it. And use it wisely to make sure that we all don't need to be here every time. And I'm looking crazy for saying the same thing to you I said to you 3 months ago, right, with no resolution. That doesn't make any sense. So I implore you all to really think about that and make it right. Take the time, take the effort. I know this is not something you're paid to do, or I don't even know, maybe you're not paid a whole lot, but do work outside of these council meetings. If you can't speak to us because you need to sit up here and keep, whatever image or, make sure you're so, you can call anybody out, have a conversation, talk to the library director yourself, talk to the employees themselves, right? And find out what really is going on. Right? Because that's what all we're doing, and we're just simple citizens with no real power, right, in terms of from a city to make these changes other than just get in front of you and ask you to do your job that we voted you all to do. So I really think y'all need to think about that and take that to heart.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't have anybody else signed up.
Please step forward. You have 5 minutes.
Last time, I promise. Molly Kazuba, Rahway resident. 2 things, wildly different topics. Joanna Miles, Councilwoman Miles, I appreciate what you said about the willingness and desire to work together, and that the council and the mayor and the city is working with the library board and the library director. As a citizen, I've tried to do my due diligence to be very neutral here, not place blame on any one entity, and I think people back there that know me can validate that, and I hope that that has been displayed up here, other than I just want this fixed. But what you said tonight did not and does not match what I've been told directly from the library end today. So there's a major disconnect. So to piggyback on what was just said here, I implore you all to put on the big people pants here and get this done. Now, totally separate of that, I'm going to seize the moment because I don't normally get to come to these meetings. The parking garage across from the train station. Can something be done about the wackadoo angle of the lines? Can someone, they just repainted it again. It is impossible to park in that garage. I implore all of you to go take a day and try to fit your vehicles in there. So you're confused. What's the confusion? I park there every day going to the city, every day, and the angle is ridiculous. All of them. And if you look on the Rahway Community Voice Facebook group page, which I'm sure you all have heard about after this library debacle, there was a recent post on there with quite a few comments, and they were all resounding the same thing, that it was a real trouble to park there every day. So I just want to put that out there. It would be great if we could have that taken care of. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
My name is Eric Mason. I live at 1351 Stockton Street. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. Mayor Giacobbe. I want to speak on, touch on what Ms. Darlene Plunkett spoke about. This has to do with that traffic that is on Hazelwood Avenue. I've been living at Stockton Street since '98. Since '98, you've had Amazon, FedEx. You've had all of these big companies come back, and now that's good. That's jobs. We need that in our community. But what's happening with the traffic pattern now is, when it's time for people to go home, you get a stack up of a lot of traffic on Rahway Avenue and Roosevelt Avenue, right there where the Quick Check is. So what's happening is the traffic stacks up. All the traffic, now they want to race across Stockton Street, Clark Street, Witherspoon Street, and trying to get to Hazelwood Avenue. Everybody's trying to get to Route 1 and 9. But what we need you to do is, please take in consideration, really look into this problem, so later on you don't have to come down the road and say, we're sorry for your loss, to someone whose child or whose parent trying to take someone across the street to where the JFK Center is, and you have the church right there across the street. Thank you. Please take a look at that.
Thank you. There you go. State your name and address.
Denise Rolong, oh my God, 1196 Klein Place. I should know this. You all should know this. congratulations, everybody who got reinstated. The reason why I'm here, there's many reasons. One, I wanted to thank, oh my God, now I'm blanking, Sean here, for helping with some of the problems that we're having on Klein Place with speeding. Secondly, I wanted to make a comment about Frank Ruggiero. He actually does a lot of work. I used to work for the city. I know what he's done, and he's always trying to find different ways to fix problems. And he's at the mercy of whatever the hell is happening, whatever the heck is happening, whoever is wanting to hire this person or wanting to buy that, he's got to figure out how it's going to work out. So I just wanted to say that and give him props because I didn't like what was being said about him. And then lastly, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. It's been a long night. About the comments having to do, Miss Miles, sorry, about the comments having to do with the library. I know you, I've known you for almost 20-something years, and I know that you love the library and you believe in the library. And lastly, yes, I hope to never hear anything about the previous administration. They were a disgrace, and one caused an issue with many people, and the other one caused a lawsuit situation. So please don't ever mention the previous administration. They may have had some ideas, but there were a lot of things that people don't know about, and the real reason why he left.
Thank you. Okay, do I have anyone else to?
Is this open or?
It's open, go ahead.
Okay.
State your name and address.
I want to say Ron McCray, 840 East Hazel down the Rawway. I want to say a couple of short points. One, to Councilwoman Timmons, when you spoke about Alzheimer's. I will say this, taking consideration, so I don't know, is to host something with a community of those who are having those same issues, because as you indicated, a community. This is a community. The other point I want to say to Councilwoman Newberry, I will charge you from the mayor and everyone here to take a trip to the VA, the Veterans Hospital in East Orange or Lyons, wherever. So when you say thank you for serving this country, go and listen to their story, because I'm a veteran, and when I go there, I get emotional because I cannot begin to imagine what they've been through or what they're going through now. So when we talk about monthly health care this and health care that, look at the whole body. Many parts, one body. So you can't address one thing unless you address all. I met a gentleman from the Navajo, Indian Navajo Reservation, Marine, 1942, cold talker. When I met him, he was 96. He just passed a couple of weeks ago at 107. I had the opportunity to sit and speak with him. But I want to come back to my main foundation here. As you have heard me and seen me on a regular basis, as you listen to those parties that just came up here and spoke about the traffic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as you indicate on a regular basis, you hear us, you listen to us, but you have not done anything. You see, that's where the insult comes in. When I listened to the report of public safety, you gave a report of public safety in the police department commending them on every place else, but there's nothing in this report, unless I missed it, about East Hazelwood Avenue and the speeding and the tickets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A couple weeks ago, I met with the police director, Councilman Brown, and the captain right here. I forgot his name, just a quick, with all due respect. We had a good conversation. We didn't agree, because as I said, I'm a witness. Based on the data is one thing. I'm a witness. You see, that's what's important. They're speeding, and you have not done it. I've been coming here since 90-something on a regular basis. You know me, it's on record. But see, it's an insult to everybody here because you keep repeating the exact same thing, but you haven't done anything. You have not addressed the issue, the cause of the issue. The sign says 25. I don't care if you're consideration or 33 or whatever. I got a ticket in 1996 in Clark. The judge asked me, well, Mr. McCray, how fast you? I said, and I thought he was going to be nice. I said, well, yeah, 3 to 5. Because the officer said 15. He said, well, you're still speeding. It didn't say 26 or 27 to 30. You're speeding. There's a crosswalk there. Every town has those flashing solo lights when the pedestrian's in the crosswalk. They don't care. Last week, the school bus stopped by JFK, picking up kids, and some fool decided to run past and keep going. Where he going, don't know. Had somebody gotten hit. During the course of the summer, when those kids is going to the playground, it's hard for them to stop the traffic. You heard me. Do not sit here and says, well, we hear you. I'm listening. They're going to do something. Because the fact is, when you address public safety means all. If a person, with all due respect, have cancer, it doesn't just start with the stage 4, it starts with the indication of something. Don't wait till something happens, and as it was said, because you heard me say it.
1 minute warning.
Well, you know, it's unfortunate somebody got hit. No, prevent that right now. And the last administrator, and I'm not getting to it, but the last BA insulted me by saying, well, we can't put speed bumps because of emergency. They're all over around the world, the speed bumps. And as that gentleman says, yes, they cut down Stockton because they don't want to stay in traffic. Gasoline trucks, oil trucks, tankers, dump trucks, they all, as I said, and I will stand on this, do every bit of 40 and up to 60 miles an hour. Those are facts. New Jersey Transit, the bus does every bit of it, depending on the driver. They have a duty and responsibility because they carry passenger. They know better by their rules and regulation. You know better by your rules and regulation. You are committed, and as you open up, you say a pledge of allegiance to the flag. One nation,
5 minutes.
under God, and justice and liberty for all. Really? Show me.
Thank you. Ms. Bernice?
Good evening, Bernice Young, 200 East Milton Avenue. I've had a great summer. Thank you, Mayor and the council, for the senior lunch and bingo. Maybe we could do that once a month. And also, we had an American Indian family in Rahway. We grew up with them. There was quite a bit of them.
Hold on a second, Ms. Bernice.
We had a family of American Indians. I went to school with most of them. It was a large family, and they said their grandfather was a chief. I never get to meet the chief. And also, we have the Rahway Hero book. I've been asking for another printing. A lot of the veterans I see, they want to be in the book. And since we have a book on them, how about our fire department? Their heroes, have a book for them. And our police department, more heroes. So if you do it for one, do it for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Please provide your name and address.
My name is Reverend Allen Thompson, Jr., pastor of the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, 809 East Hazelwood Avenue, Rahway, New Jersey. And for the last 40 years, I've been pastoring that church. And lately, increasingly, I see the traffic on Hazelwood Avenue. And it's ridiculous the way they drive. I appreciate the police department putting the crews out there. For the first couple of days, they slow down. But when they see that there's nobody in that cruiser, they speed up again. We got a lot of kids come from the JFK Center. They come into our parking lot. The parents, they're calling me and asking me if there was anything that I could do. I tell them I would come down to City Hall and talk to the city councilman, talk to the mayor, and see if they could put somebody to study that traffic pattern that comes down this highway. It's ridiculous because everybody just speed. I sit out there in the front, and I watch them come by, and they're speeding like crazy. And I'm 82 years old. I can't just get out of the way of those traffic. But I wish that somebody would take a pattern and take a look and see what they can do to help us to slow the traffic down, because there's a lot of our young people cross that street every day, coming over in our parking lot to go home or either park there and go over to the Javits Center. If you can do anything for us, we really appreciate it. To God be the glory. Amen.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Jessica Garasino, I'm going to move this. I'm sorry. I'm tall. Tall. Jessica Garasino. Sorry, excuse me. 677 Jefferson Avenue. I actually would like to speak on behalf of the East Hazelwood traffic issue that many of the other constituents have talked about. I was one of the parents last year who took her daughter to that school, JFK Center. It is unbelievable to find out at the end of last year that this continues to still be a problem, and I'm glad I can speak on this now, today. I think something really needs to be done in that area. It is horrible as a parent to take your child to that school. I used to park the street up from that school until the day I had my son in my hand and my daughter in my arms crossing the street and a car almost hit me and I was in the middle of the crosswalk. It was horrifying as a mother to experience that, to see someone speeding. The 25-mile-an-hour thank you sign down the street or up the street, which isn't very clearly visible to traffic. There is barely any indicator that that is a school zone. If that is a school zone, it should be a school zone because we allow as a city to have our preschoolers go there. It is horrifying that once I almost got hit, I utilized the church parking lot then because it was a safer option to park my car and try and cross the street. I'd had to wait for traffic to go past speeding, and still they almost hit you. Still they don't stop for you. Us as parents had to gear our car to help the other parents try and safely cross the street. It's horrifying over there. Something needs to be done, and I'm glad I am finally able to speak up on this matter because I tried to ask what can be done last year, and I got not much can be done right now. Unfortunately, it's not zoned as a school zone. Something needs to be done. It's terrible over there. So thank you. I hope you really take that into consideration. Something needs to be done.
Thank you.
Alan Levy, 254 Oak Street. I just want to make one thing very clear. I do not question the integrity or the intentions of any of you sitting up there. I do not question the integrity or the intentions of the mayor or any of the employees of this town, this city. I don't question the intentions or the integrity of anyone in this room. We all want what is best for the city of Rahway, and that is it. We can disagree about how to go about that, and that is where the disagreement often gets hostile. It often gets nasty, so to speak. And while I will be very fierce in expressing my views as to that disagreement, I do not question the intentions of any of you. Now, I realize I can be a little flippant. I can be controversial or confrontational. I've always thought with this past election, and once again, as I wrote the night of the election, I congratulate all of you on winning re-election. I point out that in a city where Democrats outnumber Republicans 80-20, winning 60-40 is not something to be happy about, but you know what? Let the political prognosticators debate that one later. But as you know, there is hostility. And a lot of you say, well, you're unfairly attacking me. Maybe, that's true. But I want to remind you, you have the power. We're just private citizens. And I understand, and when I talk about the pattern of bullying and retaliation, and I've been a broken record for the last 6 months here, reading the list of people who are the victims of that retaliation and begging all of you, give them a phone call. And I'm not talking about myself, my wife, Andy, Amy. They're going to be hard ones to have that call to. But, you know, somebody like an Anne Marie Williams, who spoke so passionately here 2 months ago, or Arlinda Harris, who made me cry when she spoke. And I beg all of you to watch those first 2 minutes of her presentation to this council, the mayor. And so many things I agreed with, that when she supported Andy's run against Danny Newberry in the primary a few months ago, I did not go against you, Mayor. You were my guy. You know what? You were my guy. When I first met you, I'm like, wow, that's a guy who could one day become a state senator, a governor, senator. You know, good looking, very articulate, doesn't seem to be a partisan bomb thrower, and that red versus blue stuff, seems to really care about the city. And then I saw the examples, the facts of what happens when you disagree. And I don't want to go through that list again, but I do beg all of you to watch that few minutes that Arlinda spoke, where a day after the primary, Danny, you won. By the way, your senior citizen talent show is now canceled, just like I threatened to do in writing in a text message. Really? You won. Do you have to get revenge after you won? Well, I found out about that myself recently. I don't work with the city. You would never have me on a board or a commission anyway. You know, and I'm a Republican. Fine.
1 minute
I'm an
warning.
insurance defense attorney. And what happened 2 days after the election? A member of the Rahway Democratic Committee, an elected member of the County Democratic Committee, took screenshots of a private message I sent him and sent it to my employer to try to get me fired from my job. I'm an insurance defense attorney. I knew you guys were vicious. I didn't think it was that low, though. You want to attack my livelihood over municipal politics? You know, I was going to say, hey, okay, you won. I'll take a step back. I've made my point. But no, you won. Time for the revenge. Time for the retaliation. And maybe I've been hostile. Maybe I've been confrontational. I've always stuck to the political arena.
5 minutes.
I have not attacked any of you or tried to destroy your livelihoods. I've expressed political disagreement in that arena.
Thank you, Mr. Levy. Thank you. This portion of the meeting is closed.
Oh, by the way, give the cops a contract.
Go ahead.
Hello, Lisa Vandiver, 254 Oak Street. I came here tonight to talk about respect and dialogue. I know it's been a contentious 6 months, and we're just out of a contentious couple of elections. Congratulations to everyone here. Try not to be sore winners. You won, okay? So don't hold it over people. I was feeling much more conciliatory when I came in here, and that was before I had to stand out in the hall for 45 minutes. That is not a great way to show respect to your constituents who have given up of their Monday because they care about what goes on in Rahway and have shown up to express their opinions and to listen about what's going on in their city. So I would suggest you take that into account the next time you need an executive session. I know it's typical to maybe push it later into the evening. I don't know if it involved library, something you needed to decide. But there were a lot of angry people out there, as you heard by the pounding on the door. But I did want to bring up a couple of things just on the topic of respect and reaching out to people. This is something I've been taking in as a political organizer and feeling the disappointment of last week's results on many levels. Of who are these people and what happened and how did we lose contact with them. And I know these assessments are going on all levels, but one bright hope bright spot in all of that for me personally was Andy Kim winning. He's now our New Jersey senator to the Senate. And he had some really great points to make, and I want to share a couple of them with you as our elected officials, the people who represent us. And, like Alan said, I don't think any of you want ill of any of us, maybe sometimes, once in a while. But I know you're doing your job, and I don't know why Danny looks so perplexed, but anyway. Okay, here are a couple points. One is listen. Hubris prioritizes talking. Humility prioritizes listening. People can tell when they're being talked down to, and it's insulting. They build up defenses, especially when there's a clear agenda. That's why outreach near election is not as effective as at other times. Empathy is a strength and not a weakness. What is needed is dialogue, not just talking. People rightfully often have their guard up when they're engaged about politics and policies. Listening and empathizing with their concerns opens the door a crack and creates space for dialogue. Be okay with refusal. Some won't want to talk or dialogue productively. That's completely expected. Not all of us feel we can do this. Engagement isn't about being naive to divisions we face, but I've had enough meaningful engagement to know this is worth trying. That's Andy Kim speaking, not me. And finally, patient and purposeful follow-up. Dialogue does not ensure change, but change is impossible without dialogue. Yes, policies are critical to building coalitions, but adopting positions before dialogue makes people feel like you don't need their input. You need to show respect. So somebody earlier pointed out the need for town halls. I think that would be a really great idea. If we could talk out some of these things before you're actually here voting on this very bureaucratic language, just have us maybe once every couple of months come together and you can talk about issues with us. I think that would be a great way to sort of get rid of a lot of this tension. And we will have a better understanding where you're coming from, what the issues are. And we can hopefully go back to calmer lives. I don't like coming here necessarily every Monday, every second Monday. Once in a while is great. I know this is your position. You've been elected to this. It's a service. I know it's probably not paid. Anyway, we'll get away from that. Just, I know that this is a service. I'm just asking that you treat your constituents with a little more respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia will be the last one for the night.
Andrew Garcia Phillips, 1470 Campbell Street. I just want to follow up on the back and forth with Frank Ruggiero. A good example of the way that this seems like an attempt at control is that before all of these shenanigans with the library's budget began, the library had an endowment. It had reserves of, about $300,000. It was forced to spend those reserves down until they had nothing, and they couldn't afford to buy computers, and now the city can buy the computers for them and pat themselves on the back for having done something good for the library. No pennies were saved by the taxpayers of Broadway in this process. You just made the library spend down their endowment instead of giving them the money, and then you had to come in later and patch up a hole that you created. If anything, Broadway taxpayers lost a lot of money because you made them spend that endowment when the market was low. The market is much higher now. That $300,000 would probably be worth $6 now. So this doesn't make any sense if you see it through any lens except that somebody wants more control. And I know questioning people's motives, but if you don't want people to question your motives, explain your logic, because the logic here does not make sense. What we've been told does not make sense. And so you're fair game for people to question your motives. Along those lines, Denise mentioned that Frank works so hard that every time a new person is hired, he has to figure out all of these things. Well, why is the CFO in that position? Why is the CFO the person who's telling you when you can and cannot hire people? He is the CFO. He is an employee. You are the leaders. You tell him. Speaking of things that he needs to be told, I told you last month that I filed an Oprah request to get the detailed budgets for the city of Rahway. When I made those charts, so many people asked me, why are those departments going up so much? And I said, I don't know. I don't have that detail, but I can Oprah it. So I sent an Oprah request in August for the detailed line item budgets. Don't shake your head, Frank, you know it's true. What I was given was just the budgets that are on the website. And I said, no, you know what I'm asking for, the detailed department by department line item budgets. And it was delayed. The city's allowed to ask for an extension for documents that are archived. Apparently, the current year budget has been archived and inaccessible. It was delayed for 2 weeks, delayed for 2 weeks again, delayed again, until after the election, and then I asked about it last week. Where is it? No response. No response. Where is it? You don't have the option to not give it to me. You know that I will get it. You're just trying to force me to have to file a lawsuit and incur expenses to get documents that I'm entitled to. Some of you on the council have expressed that you're concerned that my Oprah requests are costing the city's money. This is why it's costing money, because you're not giving me these documents. So now I will have to file a lawsuit, and the city will have to reimburse me, and the Mr. Ranone's father, Mr. Ranone, will get more money out of the city of Rahway, and you'll all be happy. Poor clerk stands to be fined $5,000 for not following the Oprah law if any court would ever prosecute it. So if any of you could help, maybe you have these line item budgets. I'm sure you don't just vote for the budget without seeing all the details. So if you have them in your possession and you'd like to send them to me, that would be great. My email is andrew@chartball.com. You probably have it unless it's been blocked, because I never hear back from you when I send you a question. Thank you.
Thank you. This portion, I'm sorry, sir, we only allow one, you're able to speak just once. So if I do it for you, I'll have to do it for somebody else. I apologize, truly apologize. Would you, ma'am, would you please step forward and speak your name and address into the mic, please?
I'm Susanna Paul Hamus, 2281 Knapp Drive. I've sat here and listened to these people very respectfully, and they've been very vocal, particularly about the traffic issues and the problems throughout the city with those issues. I beg you to look at the staffing of the police department. The police department's staffing has not changed very much. In fact, it's probably gone down in the last 50 years. I ask you, look at the staffing. That's what's causing a lot of these problems. I'm angry about this. I'm also angry that you've reached a settlement agreement with the fire department, and I applaud you on that. But you need to reach one with the police department. Thank you. Sorry to take up your time.
Thank you. This portion of the meeting is, this will be the last resident for the night.
I'm going to end on a high note. Patrick Cassio, 1971 Barnett Street. I just want to congratulate all the winners. It was a tough election. We hit you pretty hard, but you took it. You won. You know, it's amazing. A lot of people that are not happy tonight voted for you, so I find that very interesting. But I just want to come up and say you guys won, and you have my respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to close this portion of the meeting?
Motion.
So moved.
Okay. Roll call, please.
There is no roll call.
That's it. Okay, does council have any comments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
We never do a roll call for that.
Roll call to close this portion of the meeting, the public portion of the meeting, please.
Okay. Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
DeBlisco? Miles?
Yes.
Mohica's absent. Newberry?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Timmons?
Yes.
And Parson?
Yes. Okay, we're going to go ahead. Does council have any questions or comment?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate everyone's patience tonight. I want to give a shout out to our spouses. I believe everybody here either is married or has a partner. Tonight just so happens to be my 8-year wedding anniversary. So I want to say thank you. Thank you. We passed the 7-year itch. Happily married. Happily married, and I appreciate my wife for bearing with me. You know, our spouses have to endure a lot. They endure us being away from them. They endure, sometimes we're attacked, and our messages are screenshot as well. But they do it, and they support us, and I truly appreciate that. I also just want to say regarding, you know, the larger election, I had the privilege to be at Sue Altman's election gathering, and she made a statement that really resonated with me and so many people. And it said, if this country doesn't break your heart, it means you don't love it enough. So to those who are feeling unseen, and especially to the women, especially to the black women who, you know, felt like they carried democracy, you know, I pray to God one day I have a daughter, and one day that she can look at the TV and I can point and say, you know what, baby, that's going to be you one day. I pray that's the case in my lifetime. There's certainly qualified people out there. I just want to say we can be defeated. We can face defeat, but not be defeated. We can be heartbroken, but not broken. So to all you out there who are disappointed, just keep your head up, and we live to fight another day.
Thank you. Okay. I am going to Councilwoman Miles.
Sorry. Thank you. Just very quickly, thank you for coming out. This is a people's meeting. So you've been sitting here late as well, but also to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday. It's like Turkey Day. That's English Christmas dinner for me. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilman Brown?
Thank you, Council President. It's going to take me a little time, not much, though. What I'd like to say that to the people in the 4th Ward, I'd like to say to them thank you very much for sending me here again for another 4 years. And with the 4 years, I've had quite some experience with the 4th Ward. I'd like to say to Rutgers students, the scholarship program, I'm very impressed with it, and I want to get more involved with it. I also wanted to thank the JFK Housing for the gardener that they presented a proclamation to him because I do the gardening. The other part I wanted to say now is this. To Captain Gantley of working with me and the director and Ron McCray. What I'm going to say, because I've been the councilman, I'm disappointed in Mr. Ron McCray. The reason why I'm disappointed, because him saying to the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, to Ms. Plunkett, to Mr. Mason, Ms. Curry, what we wanted to do is this. If there's a problem, come to me. We can get a meeting together and see what can be done. I got to the point with Mr. McCray coming back to the meeting this didn't happen, that didn't happen. You know what got me was when he said about the police having the police car put on Hazelwood Avenue. That was only a deterrent. That was nothing that was going to say solve that problem. When we look at Stockton Street, Whalen Place, Witherspoon Street, there is trucks there that come down there off of Randolph Avenue. Let me say this. I remember when we was talking with Mrs. Curry, for years we wanted to get Randolph Avenue paved. I think it's paved now. When Ms. Plunkett comes in and says, can there be something done? It has to be where you sit down with the police department, with Captain Gantley, and see what can be done. There are some ideas that you might have that you can do it. You only get things by ideas and sitting down with each other and talking about it. One thing that disappoints me is just like when we had the Reverend here of my church, 809 East Hazelwood Avenue. I'm sorry he didn't stay to hear the end, because what this is about leadership. And I'm going to be the leader of the 4th Ward and the city of Rahway. If you want something to be done, we can get it done by coming to us. And that's what I'm going to say to you. And I'm very disappointed in you, Mr. McCray, of doing that.
Let me tell you something.
All right?
I'm not going to, I don't care. You will lock me up right now, but I dare you to sit there and tell that false statement. Because I've been to you for many years, Councilman Brown. Don't ever sit there and tell a false narrative like that. So you can forget it.
Thank you.
I lost my respect. Over 40 years. Yes, and I lost
Councilman.
respect for you. I had nothing to do with those people coming here. That was their voice. But don't sit there and make that statement.
This meeting is adjourned. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, please?
So moved.
Second.
Have a good night, everybody.